Okay, good day, everyone. Thanks for joining. So the purpose for this recording first here today is we'll be looking at the guidelines for submission of our CSEC electronic SBAs for the year 2020-2021, meaning those are the exams that will be done in 2021, June, July 2021. All right, so as you very well know, we are in, oh mercy, we are in a time when we are doing everything electronic now because we recognize that um, we we are in a pandemic really, so we can't go about doing things how we usually do it, meaning our regular means of submitting files and documents and these things. So CXC is allowing us to do all our things now electronically.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So right now we are in the process of, by electronic we mean that we are allowed to send all our SBAs, all our documents for our SBAs via electronic means, via the internet, right? Which means that we have to convert all documents that we have into an electronic format that it can be used for that, right? So as of about last year or year before, we stopped doing the printed SBAs and things like that, and we started doing all our SBAs soft copy, which make the whole process easier for us. All right. So before us now, we have this document that I will send in the group when I'm finished, but I just want us to look through it from now so we have a good understanding of where we are and what we need to do in order to complete these assignments, right? So first of all, let me say that the person that will be doing, the teachers that will be doing the SBA submissions, there are two groups of you, right? There's one group that the students do the electronic SBAs and submit to you. You put them together and you submit them to me to be submitted online, right? So those persons are one set. There's another set where your SBAs will be marked by external assessors, right? Meaning that people coming to mark and look at do whatever they have to do the process with your SBAs, right? So for this purpose now, everyone will go through the first segment of this recording, and then when we reach the point that I no longer that information being given will no longer be relevant to the person that will be getting externally assessed, then I will notify you so you can leave if you want. I can continue watching if you want. All right. So let's go. So this is a memo that will be sent out and kind of put it together in the form of a. This is a,
You're not gonna wait a little bit for to be another.
no, it's a recording. They can watch it afterward if they want. Yeah. All right. So this is a booklet. I put out there's a memo in it, just an introduction, formal introduction. So let me just read through that. In light of the recent development of the COVID-19 virus and its impact on our normal procedures regarding submission of school-based SBAs, changes have been made to the procedures that are to be followed to submit CSEC SBAs. CXC is requiring that all SBA pieces in subject normally uploaded be submitted via the ORS eSBA portal in 2021. This means that all non-external moderated subjects must submit all SBA pieces for 2021. The ORS has been augmented to support the greater demand. Please follow all applicable protocols outlined in this document to ensure that all required documents are submitted accordingly and on time in accordance with the regulations governing CSEC eSBA submissions for 2021. All right. So right here, I have a content page just outlining all of the major items that we'll be going through. Most of them, we're going through most of them, not all of them. Some of them kind of self-explanatory, some of them are procedural, some of them are we definitely need to get into. All right. So let's go. So previously there was this process what they call there was a process what they call random sampling, where teachers would prepare where the system would generate 5 samples, and assessor would only come in to view those 5 samples. Now, this procedure will no longer take place for 2021 examinations due to the special grading mechanisms to be employed by CXC. This means that schools will submit all SBA pieces in all relevant subject areas for which candidates are registered, whether they are uploaded or on-site moderation. This means that previously, if we have 100 students in the subject, the system would generate a sample of 5 and we would only be required normally to submit those 5 persons. But now CXC has changed everything. They want us to submit all SBAs for all candidates. All right. So people who normally will submit that 5, that sample 5, that is no longer in place. All pieces for all SBAs will be required to be submitted. All right. All school entries with the following subjects will be included in the on-site moderation. And those who do on-site moderation know that's where the external assessors come in and visit the plant, visit your classroom, look at your SBAs face to face, and whatever the case is. So these subjects are agri, biochemistry, industrial technology, that's both building and electrical, integrated science, music, physics, and technical drawing, right? So those persons would have their assessors coming in. So those persons are not required to submit their SBAs to me to be submitted online. All right, those persons will have the assessors come in. However, these persons need to submit some grades to me, which I will outline shortly how these grades will be submitted. All right, so this is the outline for the on-site moderation. Again, you can read through that. So we just the parts that can be read through and that are normal, don't require much explanation, I can go through it. I know that it is straightforward, that's why I can go through it. All right, I can just skip it by. All right, we just spoke about the samples. All right, so now for all files that would be submitted, or all files for SBAs, I require to have a title page, right? We know what a title page is, right? And we know the different formats. So these title page should have the year of the examination, the subject, the candidate's number, that's the candidate number, right? The candidate's name, title of the project, if applicable, and the name of teacher or teachers who supervised the project, all right? So that should be your title page, which is different from your cover page. So I will speak about the cover page shortly, right? So that's your title page, right? The rest of this information now I will get into shortly. But before I get into that, let me speak about how we will be uploading or how you will be submitting your SBA grades to me, because I know that by now you would have all submitted, you would have all finished marking all SBAs. There were extensions and there were extensions to the extensions. So now we have reached the end of all extensions. All right. So let's take a quick look at how we will be required to submit the grades. All right. I have gone ahead. Let me see if I find the right file. I've gone ahead and I've created a Dropbox, right? A Dropbox is basically a software, online software where I can put files in and then the files can be accessed by anyone at any time they want, all right? So the purpose of this now is where I have put all the SBA files that you will need to submit to me in this Dropbox. So as long as you know your subject name, you can just go in this Dropbox and then you can select the files that you want, download them to your computer, your device, and then you will use them to do whatever you need to do. All right, so I don't need to be sending, or shouldn't need to be sending the files individually to you one by one by one. All right, so when you open it, you should see this CSEC SBA files for 2020, 2021. Within this file, you will see all these files, right? Don't get frightened. These are not all for everybody. Only one or two will apply to each subject teacher, right? So let me show you that in a better format where you can probably see better. Right. So these are the files, right? Let me sort that by name so you see it better. So within this, there is one spreadsheet file, and then there's one PDF file. The PDF file is the cover sheet. We're familiar with the cover sheet, right? We'll be talking about this in a second. And then there's a spreadsheet file. So the spreadsheet file is what you will use to submit your grades for your SBAs to me. So let me use my subject. Let me use information technology as an example. So right here, I have the information technology spreadsheet file. All right, so you see that X for Excel. So when I open this, oh, sorry, I had it open already. That's why I got that problem. All right, so when I open this file now, this subject, this file, this spreadsheet is unique to information technology only, meaning that the students and the files, the headings, the information that are in this file only applies to information technology. If I open the food and nutrition one, the information in it will only apply to food and nutrition. All right. So if I open my information technology one, first thing I will see up at the top to confirm that this is IT, I will see my test code. So the test code for IT 01229090. So that confirms that this is information technology. Next thing I will see is I will see all the students that are registered on this 100355. I will see all the students that are registered on this center for information technology, right? Bear in mind, this part of the document can't be edited. So if I try to delete anything, I'm going to get an error message like this, right? So I can't delete or change anything in this part. The names or the candidate numbers can't be changed. All right, so bear that in mind. So you can't mess if you see anything that you don't like, you can't change it. You can't add or delete anything. Whatever is here is fixed. All right. There are some parts though that you can manipulate. So if we move over, we see the estimated rank, right? We're familiar with the estimated rank because we used to follow the paper-based one, so we know that it's there. In this case now, it has to fill in. It's not like the paper-based one I used to leave it blank and send it come to me and then me have to try get something to try complete your form for you. This one have to be completed, right? So in this case, this is showing that once I click in the box, this is showing that you see a message. Enter integer value between 1 and 31 because I have 31 students registered here. So the estimated rating, the estimated rank is going to be based on first, second, third, fourth, all the way to 31. So that means that if I feel that Natasha Allen is 22nd, I feel like Richard Lee Anderson is 7th and going down the line. So as long as we cover everybody from 1st to 31st. Some people use the SBA grades to do this. Others will use probably some class mark or their personal grading system to do this, right? But what this means is that we know how numbering goes, right? That means that if we have somebody come first here, so and somebody else come first here, so it means that you wouldn't have a second, you would have a third after that because this will compile of first and second, right? So as long as you understand that numbering system, right? So that means that if 3 people come third here, so you wouldn't have a fourth and a fifth. The next person after that would have to be 6, right? As long as we understand how that numbering goes. The next part now is very important as well. This is our estimated grade. This is a grade that we as teachers who have been teaching these children for 2 years, this is what we feel that based on their efforts, based on what they have learned, based on all that they have put out, this is what I feel that they will get, right? So, and this again will limit you. So this will limit you to only what is in here, so only the sections that are in here. So if you feel that the child will get a 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, ungraded would apply to those who did not submit a SBA. All right, bear that in mind. So again, the estimated grades coming very, very useful to CXC because a lot of times they are marginal situations with their marking and they need to something to probably break the tire or something like that. So if they thought that the child was receiving somewhere between a 3 and a 4 and they want to break that to make it a 3 or whatever the case, they can look at your estimated grade. So if you estimated that you're feeling that they would have gotten a 2 or whatever the case is, they can take this into consideration. In addition to that, where there are situations where students miss an exam for unforeseen reasons. Like I remember a couple of years ago, there was this young girl that had to do a surgery on the exam day, on the morning of exam. She had to do a surgery and a cut her wound or something like that that she had to do. So she had to miss that paper one exam, but she did the paper two, but she had to miss the paper one. So when that was reported and the student brought in their doctor certificate, CXE was able to use the grade from the paper two and the estimated grade and the SBA grade to formulate a final grade for the student. So even though the student missed one paper, because she was accountable, she had her doctor certificate, they would match it with our estimated grade that we had for them, and they could put forward a grade for that student. In addition to that, similarly to what happened last year, where students didn't get a chance to do the paper two, they only got a chance to do paper one. They will also take the estimated grade into account for that as well, because that would be a determining factor in a lot of the cases, right? So when you're doing this, be truthful and be honest. Don't a lot of time we get caught up in emotion. I've seen teachers do it. We get caught up in emotion. I was like, oh, we can't bother the fitness, come on a class and we just like you have 4 or whatever the case is. But if we just seriously think about it, when she do come class, she do some work. You understand? And that don't mean so within the last 2-3 weeks of class, she could have probably come out and do some work. So if you know the genuine potential of that child, this is what we're putting here. So the genuine potential, the genuine thing that we know that they will do. It's not based really on sometimes them have some whatever feelings and them no want to come to class or whatever they feel. If we know genuine that this child will get a two, especially if they're going to put out some effort in that last 2 to 3 weeks, then they can put a two. All right. I've seen a lot of cases where teachers just lace off the paper with fours. I mean, I say, do you really genuinely believe all these students going to get a four? I have no hope that they're going to get more than that. Again, it's a personal decision to the teacher, so I can't dictate that. I can't override it, and I can't do anything about it. It's your personal decision. But where the decision is based on you, make a conscionable decision. All right, don't just drop some grades because you feel, because just make it be realistic, because these students do have potential. Huh? And don't inflate the grade either. So if you know say your favorite student, if you know say them not gonna get more than three, don't put a one panic. Say you like the student and the student, them kind of behavior that you pleasant and unpleasant and you get along good with the student. If you know say those are three them again, don't overdo it either, because that again is going to show. Because what gonna happen with that is that we might tell them say CXC say, oh, we feel that this are going to get a one. But when them look and see them get the four now, them wonder what are we doing? What are we estimating here? If the margin is so far from each other. You understand? So we don't want to look like we're being too hard on the students, and we don't want to look like we're being too easy on the students. So let's be as fair as possible with that, all right? Good. I think that was what I said. Right? So we'll put in whatever grade we think that the child will get here. And all of these sections need to be filled out. Okay. If you don't fill out this section, when I try to drop it onto the website, it's going to give me back an error. If I get an error, I'm going to send it back to you, and we're going to go back and forth with that. It's a way for time wasting that. All right. Spend the time and fill it out properly, please. All right. There's a column here, very important column. This is for groups, right? This column only affects subjects that were marked in groups. These subjects will be based on what I know so far. These subjects will be maths, students were placed in groups. Some social studies students were placed in groups. RE students, I think, were placed in groups. I know for a fact that accounts, POB and account students were placed in groups. So this is where you make your group selection. So now, and this is very important, because if you don't do the right thing here, the students won't be placed in the right group. So even though you have them on paper in the right group, and you have them on your computer in the right group, if you don't put in the correct group in here, so you're going to have a problem. So if you know that Natasha Allen is in group 5, you know that Shanae Clark is also in group 5, and you know that Jada Johnson is also in group 5. Then you just put 5 for each one. So this will mean that this one and this one and this student, all of these 3 are in group 5. All right. Importantly, because it is numbered already, there is this group. There is a 5 years already, because it was from 1 going down. So you have to make sure that you take this 5 into account, because this person is supposed to be in group 5. This 5 is only here, so as a placeholder. All right. So it is important that you go through them one by one. Don't just broad check it like what I just do a while ago and say 5, 5, and 5. Is going to miss out this 5 years. So some are going to line, they're going to wonder how the student reaching in group 5 or whatever the case is. and then you have problems. All right. So please go through this carefully. Errors that are made here, anything you put here is going to go straight into the system. It's going to go straight to CXC. And then a couple months from now, when there's a problem, somebody going to ask how this happened. When I bring up back this file, I'm going to show you that look, you they put this right here, so you know, and we don't want situations like that to happen, right? So this grouping part, go through it carefully. So let me say again, if your subject, if you didn't do any grouping for SBAs for your subject, leave the numbers as they are in sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, going all the way down. Leave it in sequence, right? If you did if your students did their pieces, their SBAs in groups, like the subjects that I just called a while ago, then this is where you would manipulate this column here. So, all right. So that means that you would need to put who in group 1 together, who in group 2 together, and based on experience, this is something that you make a lot of mistakes with. So based on my experience, I would advise you after you put it in, check it 1 time, check it 2 times, check it like 5 times just to make sure. All right. Check it, and if you have somebody beside you that can check, if you ask them to check it as well, because errors that come up here can't be fixed again. If you put somebody in the wrong group here, so if you put somebody in the wrong group here, so for example, if you put somebody in group 5 when they're not supposed to be in group 5, but on the paperwork, on the SBA itself, like on the cover sheet and the SBA itself, you are sending up that student in another group or whatever the case is. You see those kind of conflicts there, so CXC is not going to spend the time or the effort to figure it out, right? You see, if they get a conflict like that right there, so, and they realize right away that is not their fault, it's a no grade for them, and then the business, they just move on with life. Right, because they're gonna say we should have spent the time to go over it properly. Right, and then if you get a no grade here, so and then the student query it and realize that they did the right thing, they submitted their grades, they did all of their exam, but it was on the fault of the teacher or the school, then that is where the teacher or the school is going to fall into problem. So you still make sure I go over it over and over and over again to show how important this column is. Right? Ensure that the students are in the right group. When you put them in like this, it's just going to pop up on the computer. When I drop it on, it's going to pop them up and show everybody in group 1, everybody in group 2, everybody in group 3. So make sure that you have them in the correct order as well. All right, good. Now you see some sections here that are grayed out. It means that you can't enter anything in these columns. All right, so don't go there. Right. So the ones that are not grayed out, like these 2 here, so for information technology, I know that I have to put some grades in there. So when I click on it first, it's telling me that this set of grades must come out at 35. I know that already, and the next one should be out at 15. That is correct. Okay, so the explanation here. So if I try to put something here so out of 40, it's going to give me an error. You must be between 0 to 35. So that means you pretty much, let me not say can't, because I know sometimes we'll find a way to overcome the can'ts. You should not make any errors with this, right? Because it pretty much telling you that you're not supposed to go over a certain value, right? So you know that this grade here, so only must be marked out at 35, between 0 to 35 for me, for information technology, right? When you are doing your subjects, you might see more columns here, so or you might see less, and you will see different gradings for them. Just have, I don't say I understand, but I just say it because sometimes we have to set things to make sure, right? And then this one is marked out at 15, and then we see as you put in these grades, the total here so will come up by itself, so you don't have to calculate it as well. So this again is very important because in the past I've seen situations where teachers put in grades, but the total don't match. So sometimes they will put in 30, 35 and 32, but they get 59. You understand? And then when they submit that to me and I put that on the system and it's not making sense, I have to backtrace that one. Where did that mistake happen? Did that mistake happen on the cover sheet, on the marking scheme? So this creates a problem sometimes. So make sure that what the grades that you have here, especially the total, it match what you have on your mark scheme and it match what you have on your cover sheet. So make sure that everything match. Right? So when you finish with this document, as I said before, double check it, triple check it, ask somebody in your house to check it, ask your neighbor to check it, ask your grandmother to check it, anybody you can find, just ask them to check it here, just to make sure. All right? And then this final one, no SBA, this is asking a question. No SBA. No, meaning that yes, they have a SBA. I don't know why it's TXT kind of confusing sometimes if you look at it. So this is saying no SBA. No, they add an SBA. So the no here so means that there is an SBA. If I say yes, that means that no SBA was submitted. So this is saying no SBA, yes. Confirming yes, no SBA, right? If it's no, it's saying no to no SBA. I hope you understand that clear. So if there's a SBA, make sure you have no here. So like what all of this is already set to no. So you're not supposed to have a problem. If the child did not send in an SBA, then you put yes. Now, bear in mind, when you're putting in these grades for students that have not done any SBAs, you know that you can't have an estimated grade. If you don't have an SBA, you can't have an estimated grade. So right away, it's ungraded. So if I put no right there, so it means that there should be 0 here. So it should be 0 here, so and there should be ungraded here, so all right. So please check these things when you're doing it. All right. Yes, here so means that there was no SBA. Once there's no SBA, it means that they should not have any grades. All right. In addition to that, when you are marking this, make sure that you actually have the SBA. I've seen situations where teachers mark a SBA, send it back to correction, they can't find the original one, the student can't find the one that they send back, and that kind of confusion. So the situation would have been that there was an SBA that was actually marked, so the teacher actually have the grades can put on, but they don't actually have the SBA. So in that case now, you can't have the grade, because if you don't have the SBA to back it up, it means that you can't put on any grade. So if you lost the SBA, whatever the case is, you need to put back no SBA right here. So because you can't send me grades for SBAs that don't exist, basically. So I hope you understand clearly what that means. And bear in mind, you hear me talking about all of these errors. Most of these errors can be fixed by CXC, right? But at a cost. So if you choose to make these changes after the final submission gone in for CXC and everything, but you realize that, oh, you actually had the SBA or you put them in the wrong group or anything, CXC don't have a problem with that. CXC will gladly correct it for you. Most of these costs, when it get to this stage, are going to be about 100 US. All right? Most of these costs, 100 US plus some sort of administrative fee by CXC and whatever the case is. So we go through a lot of effort sometimes to make sure so we don't make these errors. We don't make these errors because I don't know who's going to pay for that. Yeah, if it's your error, more than likely it's you. All right, so we don't want to go down that path any at all. All right, so have I done everything here? So, right, so we say that the names can't be changed. You must put in the correct sequence for the ranking, put in the conscionable grade for the estimated grade, ensure that you put in the proper grouping for the students if you graded them based on groups, right? Put in the grades out of what it is marked. The system won't allow you to put it into more than what it was marked for. So in my case, this one can be more than 35 and this one can be 15. It would automatically add it up for me, so I don't have to add it up. So at the end of it, I just need to make sure that the grades that I have here, so all of these grades that I have here, so match on the mark scheme. Okay, you see, I have to submit a mark scheme in each SBA, and it also match on the cover sheet. All right. Before I go any further, anybody have any questions at this stage before I go any further?
So, Mr. Remiki, you're saying the column that second to last column that asks if there is an SBA, if an SBA was submitted or not. No means yes, and yes means no.
I never want to say it like that, because I get confused when you say it like
no,
that.
well, that's how I understand it.
Well, if I saw you understand it, fine. But if I don't want to say no mean yes and yes be no. So this is the question here. So this is the question. No SBA is that put a question sign on that. So if it's no SBA, yes, there is no SBA. No, there is no SBA. Kind of like that, if you understand. So,
say it again. Say that again.
So there's no SBA here, so it's like a question. So it's asking you no SBA. So if the person didn't come with some any SBA, you would say yes, there is no SBA. So yes, there's a submission for no SBA. I know there's a submission for no SBA.
There's a submission for
So yes, there's a submission for no SBA. I know there's no submission for no SBA. That's what it's saying. But if you understand it as yes mean no and no mean yes, make sure so you understand it like that. Don't say I said it like that though. All right. So just to say that again, all of these As long as you have a SBA, you should have no right here. So if you did not submit a SBA, you would put yes.
There is a submission for no SBA.
Yes, right. Good. Wonderful.
And when there is not a submission for SBA, you shouldn't have any actual grades or anything like that.
You shouldn't have any grades if there are no SBAs.
Right. If there are if nothing is submitted.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So you'd leave these as 0, 0, 0, and you put ungraded because ungraded for the estimated grade. Right?
Right, yes.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you. Anybody else?
But sir, good afternoon, colleagues. When are we going to get this sheet, sir?
Well, that's it. But they don't want to do this, and then I put. So I actually have the link open right now. So as I finish this video, I'm gonna post the video. Then I'm gonna post the memo. I'm gonna post the Dropbox links. I'm gonna post everything we need one time. But I never want to one thing before the other. That's why I'm gonna do the video first.
Okay.
Okay, sir. One more question. I have a student, you know, for EDPM, there are like 4 parts to it, right, sir? If I have a student that only does part 1, what am I going to put for estimated grade? And for no SBA, what do I do? How do I treat that?
Part 1, but it will combine to form the overall grade, right?
Right.
Yes, so if they did part 1, then yes, because it means that you would have something to put here. So though, right, let me look for the EDPM one just to verify what you're saying. All right, so it means that you would have 1 mark out of 40, 1 mark out of 20, 1 mark out of 40. But you're saying that if they didn't put one part, that will lower one of the 40 or something like that?
Right.
Yeah, man. So it means that something was submitted. So as long as something was submitted for them to get that piece of grade, then you're good. It's a submission.
Okay.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So let's move forward. So as long as we have this done, so when you finish with this, you will save it back. As you can see, I name mine information technology with the center number and the test code. Leave the naming as is. I will fix this. So leave this naming as is, because this is not going to be part of SBA student SBA submission. This is going to be part of my submission. So if it's named like this, just leave it named as is. All right, good. All right, where am I on my menu? Right, good. So we're back here now. So the rest of this no, I'm not ready for this yet. I'm not ready for this yet. All right. So the next part I want to look at is the cover sheet, and the cover sheet is what usually give people a lot of problems, especially with the submission of the SBA part. All right. I think after this spreadsheet a while ago, this is the only part that persons who are doing external assessment would need to be a part of. Right. So if all of the people do, so everybody should fill out one of these spreadsheets and submit the grades. All right. Going forward from this point forward in the video now, it only applies to person that will be submitting SBAs directly to me to be submitted online. All right. So if you're not a part of that group, then you don't need to watch any further. You can for the knowledge though, and for the experience. There's not a problem. All right. So the next part that I'll be looking at is the cover sheet. I will know that each SBA piece should have a cover sheet. All right. And in addition to that, if it's a group SBA, the group SBA should have 1 cover piece. Right? So if it's a group SBA, you're not going to have 5. So if it's 5 people in the group, you're not going to have 5 different submissions. You're going to have 1 submission for the group, and you're going to have 1 cover sheet for that group. All right. So let's look at the information technology. I went ahead and put it in a different folder. I think I did that. All right. Apparently I didn't do that.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to mix up what I have here, so I'm going to put this in a different. Oh, it's there. Just 1 second. I want to create a different file because I don't want to mess up the documents I have already. All right, wonderful. Here we go. So I have already gone ahead. So this would be this file right here. So will be the cover sheet. that we have to submit with each SBA, right? And this is what we call a fillable cover sheet. All right. So this is what it looks like. So every subject that is supposed to submit SBAs, you should have one of these on hand. All right. Most people usually say that it's 1 second. Somebody have on their mic. Somebody have on their mic and make it a little feedback. So if you cannot mute the mic until we need to talk again. Like that. Thanks. Yeah. All right. So this is a fillable PDF form. All right. All right. As you can see, I have one main one right here. So, all right. So what this means is that you have to fill out one of these for each SBA submission that you're going to do, right? And it's fillable. And down here, so there's a little part that says print to PDF. Print to PDF is a term what them need for it flatten it. So when it flatten it, it means that it cannot be edited anymore. So although we can edit the information here and put it on, CSEC don't want in that format because they want to be accountable. They don't want to say that you send something and they change it and make it less or more on this form, right? So even though we are able to edit it here, so we have to flatten it to make it uneditable so that when CSEC get it, they can only look at it what we send. They can't edit it or do anything to it. All right, so we're just gonna run through that process quickly. All right, if you're like me, I have 31 of these to fill out. Right, I don't want to go through the effort of doing 31 of these every single time. So there are some things that I can do. I can put in some of the information on them from before. So I can put in the into the high school because that will be on everybody's sheet. So I can put in that before. I can put in the center number because that will remain the same as well. I can put in the exam year because that will remain the same as well. Get me? The candidate name will be different, so I'm gonna leave that blank. Candidate registration will be different, so I can leave that. I can put in the first part of it as well, just to make life a little bit easier. All right, so I kind of pre-fill this form. All right, again, the rest of the information here so will be just the grades based on how your mark scheme set up. So this is what my one look like, and I can't enter anything in these here that will be more than what it allows me to, just like the spreadsheet. So if this is saying database for 20 marks, it won't allow me to enter anything more than 20 marks here. So I see, give me a little message. Class or something. You see, give me a little message a while ago. So once I put it over here, so yeah, well, another full message, right? But all right, so it can't enter anything more. In addition to that, the sheet will also automatically total it for you. So it is supposed to automatically total everything for you. So when you finish, whatever total you have here, so must match back with whatever total you have here. So with whatever total you have on your mark scheme, with whatever total you have for the student, everything must match. Anyone that is off means that you did something wrong. All right. This other power normally gives some people a problem because the signature on a PDF file, you can't write, well, you can print it and write it down and then upload it back, but that's a lot of problem. There's a way to do a digital signature, all right? If you click on it, if you click on the line, sorry, let me do that again. If you click on this line or the space here, so it will give you an option like this, right? And you can configure a new digital ID. I have already done one, so I'm gonna need to do it again. This one expires in 2025, but you can configure a new one. And once you fill it out, it's just going to ask some questions. Let me see if we can start this one. I don't want to get too far into it. Create a new digital signature. Save to file. You can save this to your computer because bear in mind, this is like a mini file, all right? It can be stolen, somebody can thief it and put it on their PDF and say that you did it. It's pretty much like a real signature, just actually a digital signature. So if you're going to save it to a file, save it to somewhere where you can remember it, or you can possibly delete it after if you want. All right, you're going to ask you a few stuff like your name, organization, your email address, some little stuff just to verify to make it unique to you. So because it's your information, nobody's not supposed to know these other information about you, so it's supposed to become unique to you and it make it can't duplicate or anything like that. Right? So your name, your organization name, your email address, your country, if you want to put that, and some other unique features that you can put in here. I don't think I put in You can use data encryption just to make it more unique or harder to crack, right? And when you finish it, just continue. If we ask you to save it somewhere, you can do that, all right? In my case, I already have one, so I can just click on it and continue, and it should go through. So this is what it will look like afterwards. Xavier Mickey, digital signature date when it was originally done. This was done, and this is one that I was working on today. Come to mess up the original one. When you create the one that you had before, it will ask if you have password, and the password is used as part of the encryption. So if somebody steal a file, if they don't have the password, they can't decrypt it. I had a password. I hope I can remember. That is not going to work. Let's go again. All right, that should work. They ask me for resave the file with the new digital signature. So I'm just going to rename it with just for my purpose. You can save it however you want, but just for my purpose, right? And save. All right. So with SIG, this is the same file. So you come up with SIG, and then this is what the digital signature is going to look like. All right. There are other means and ways of doing all of this, because you could if you don't use Adobe, you could use another PDF file, and they could allow you to literally just type your name into it straight, right? So because CXC know that a lot of people may have a problem with this, so now I don't think they're going to kill anybody, as long as we can know that you typing something there, so to make it a little bit accountable, nobody not going to hold it against you. So if you have a different PDF software that will allow you to just type your information in here, so it's not a problem. If you want to print it and sign it with your hand, sign it manually and upload it back, if you go to school, Mr. Richards will help with that. It's not a problem. In addition, now you have a date, so you put in whichever date you want to start signing these. Can you backdate it? Yes, you can backdate it. So you can actually start it from 2nd of June 2021. All right, not a problem, right? So as you can see, I fill out most of what I want on mine here. So, all right. So this is finishing half of it.
So 1 minute, excuse me, please, Mr. Remiki.
Yeah.
You said that if our students are in group, that we should fill out just one cover page. But
Right.
but each of these cover pages require the name of one candidate. So how are we gonna do that?
That is a wonderful question. I love that question. All right. So when you're writing up the groupings and you put whoever in group 1, whoever in group, say these persons here, so we're all in group 5. That's for argument's sake. All of these 3 persons here, so we're in group 5. You would just use the name and information for the first person of each group. So in this case, it was Natasha Allen with the candidate number. So you just put in Natasha Allen with Natasha Allen candidate number. All right. So the system will recognize that all persons who are in group 5 were with Natasha Allen, and it will recognize it as that SBA as well on that cover sheet. All right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome, ma'am. All right. So once you have this now becomes your template. All right. So you can close it back. I'm going to find back my original folder. Right, so this now becomes my template. All right, so I'm gonna open it back. You see it have the information in it. Everything is still editable. All right. So right. All of the information is still in it, except the grades, right? Because the grades is going to be put in by each person. All right. All right. What I did last year, was it last year or year before? I just started writing on one and put in the grades, and then I receive. And I realized that a number of times that I made a mistake, because a lot of times when I put in 20 years or so, and I put in 5 and I put in 20, right? And this was for John Brown for argument's sake. And then I save as John Brown and come back and then try to change the name here so to Stacey Brown, and then try to change the name. Some of the times I will change back this to 18 for the next student, and I will accidentally skip this 5 and go down here so and change back this to the next 15 or whatever the case is. So somewhere along the line, this 5 remain when it should have changed and it wasn't changed. So I will advise you leave all your grades blank. Put in all your grades from scratch for each student, if you get what I'm saying, right? I did not put them in one at a time a couple of years ago for lazy purposes, but I put in all of the grades and then save as for each one as I went through. Sometimes I skip some of the numbers and it create a problem because on all of them, and the person wouldn't get 5. So for 3 them forget, but maybe just skip it, right? So my advice to you, leave them blank in your template. Leave the grades blank for your template. So put on the grades. So when you open my next one, all right, let me fix that quick and let me tell you matter. So for this one, this is the main template that I did. We have the name, school name, and the signature, the date and everything on it. So this is my template. So I would just create 30 of this basically. All right, I cannot copy and paste as many of these as I need. And then I can go through now. Before I start putting in the names and the grades, I can just start renaming them here. So I'm going to have to rename it finally at the end now. But for this purpose, we can just rename it here. So Kevin 1. Right, this is also what I did, right? You will have your own way of doing it. I have one at 30. Some of you might have less, some of you might have more, some of you might find different ways of doing it. All right, but just so you don't get it mixed up, I kind of like name them. So I'm going to go to Kevin 1. When I open Kevin, then I can put in Kevin in the name, and then I put in the grades for Kevin. So as I was showing you before now, when you enter the grades here, so you should see the totals start changing same time. Right? So you see the totals here, so it's kind of a little automatic, a built-in calculation thing to it. Right? So you're not supposed to make any errors. So when you finish, so if this was 37 years, so my spreadsheet should show 37. Everything else that I have should show 37 as well. So and then you put in the rest of the candidate number here, so complete that. I will know that it's 10 digits in the candidate number. So 100355, and then the final 4 are unique, right? So we should have that covered. All right. Did I leave off anything? No. So once everything is on this, watch this now, because this is the tricky part. Once everything is on this, you're supposed to can go to print to PDF. If you click the print to PDF, as I said before, it's supposed to flatten it so that you can't change anything here again. I mean, you can edit it. But not all the time it works. For some strange reason, oh, it's going to work this time. It's working now. But not all the time it works. So sometimes if you press the print to PDF and it don't work, sometimes what you have to do is go to File, go to Print, and then you can select the Microsoft Print to PDF. So once you select Microsoft Print to PDF, it's going to print the document as a PDF format again. So when you print it again, you're going to ask you to save it. You save it as whatever you want to save it as, press save, and it will come up in a format that cannot be edited anymore. So once you're doing this, make sure you finish with the file before you do this. All right? You have to do this, but make sure you finish with the file before you do this, because once you do this process here, so you can't edit it anymore. So if there was a mistake on it, you're going to have to delete it and create a whole new cover sheet for that one. All right. So in this case, it said it can be done. So print to PDF. I see it funny. It stopped. Don't know. Hold on. Yeah, you can edit. But it's fun because before I pressed it, give me the option, but now I try print to PDF. It not give me by the option because this thing, I don't know why, but it always does.
Mr. Remike.
Yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon. May I proceed by asking a question?
Sure.
All right. When you I have saved mine into a PDF document, right? When we save it into a PDF document, I mean that's a cover sheet. Is it are all students and I put each students they're under a file. Let me try. Let me just wake up. So I'm trying to make sense with what I'm saying. All right. So I put the student SBA and I put the students mark sheet in a file,
Right.
right? Is that the process?
You mean for when you're ready to submit it?
Yes.
When I reach that say it. So you wake up too early. When I reach that say it.
All right. So all right then. So but I realized something though. You see, like with my sheet, you said that we can't make any changes to it again. That is the mark sheet itself. I
The
did
cover sheet,
click
the cover page I thought, this cover
cover
page I
page.
thought.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I did put it into I did press print. What that thing is a while again? Print to
Print to
PDF.
PDF. Yeah.
Right. I did press that. Right. However, even so, I press that and then I press save. All mine are saved, right? But the thing is that I can still go in and edit it because, as a matter of fact, I can copy this or send this document to somebody in my
That's
department for them to edit.
all right. So you look like you wake up late after I come and they just mentioned that. All right. So that's something I say it have to be flattened. So if this don't work, if this print to PDF don't work, look at what me I got to know to make sure so you get it. So go to file, go to print, all right. All Microsoft, all right, turn off your mic now, Costa, please.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So all Microsoft computers will have this option here. So Microsoft print to PDF. You will have some other one too, and I believe like XPS also, but I will use this one. Microsoft print to PDF. So that what I would do is it would kind of print the document to an PDF file basically. But when it do this now, it's flattening. So when I do that and I press print, you're going to give me an option to save the file. Did it? No, it didn't. Okay, let me do that again. Print to PDF, print. Right. So it should give me an option to save the file now. So if this I was working on was, just to verify, it was Kevin one, so I'm going to put it Kevin and whatever other naming more and put on it just for now. So I have to go put this at number 2 so I can get mixed up. All right. And then I can now press save. So if I open that file now, it should open for me automatically. No, it didn't. All right. So let me just look for it and open it now. So this is it. So you see it open now, but I can't edit this now. So you see the option that was out here with the little arrow, if you change the arrow, that gone. All of these things gone. I can't edit the teacher's signature and I can't put any grades. So even though you see the cursor flashing there, so I am pressing the backspace and there's nothing that's going to happen. Nothing is going to come up in that backspace because now it can't be edited anymore. So this is how the final document should look. Problem is, it's last year, some of you never do this. And then when you submit it to me and you turn off your phone and gone in your bed, you turn off your phone, you turn off your phone, you block my number after the SBA submission and gone with your business. Me have to sit down and do this for you, right? And I promise you it's not going to happen this year. If you don't do this process and flatten it, I'm going to be sending it back to you. Even if it's late, you're going to have to pay them late entry them. And nah, sit down and do this again. I'm telling you, all right? So make sure you follow it. So let me do it. Yes, that's after.
Remake, look here now,
Yeah.
because you need to tell me now what is my option now, because I would have done all of that already,
Yeah, man.
right?
So that so the same thing I show you. So it just a matter of doing this. So I just show you, you know. So
So
even though
where
I
you
have
tell
the
me now, so
original
I have
file,
to go back
well,
and do over all of this in terms of putting in back the grades?
no, you're not have to put in by the grade because you say you have the file like this already, but
No, ma,
it does not
hold on there,
finalize.
hold on, no, it in a, let me tell you where it in a no, no, it in a one PDF file, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, at the bottom, it's still saying print to PDF file, but it's not showing me. You see on the side where you have Adobe export PDF file, that side
Mm-hmm.
over on the right hand corner. Look here. All right, on the side where you have the Adobe export PDF file.
Yeah.
I Kevin PDF. my thing not saying that it just open as a PDF file.
So fine. So I'm gonna show you again. So when you're done your one, it still look like what me have here. So and you see you can still edit it. You can say you
Yes.
can still edit it, right?
Yes.
Right. So and you say when you go down there and press a print to PDF, nothing happen. Fine, don't worry about that. So I'm saying once you're going to open up the same file now because the information is already in it. So once you do have that, just go to file up top. All right, turn on back camera, Costa.
Yeah.
Thanks. So just go to file up top here, so, and go to print right here, so. And then you're going to select the Microsoft print to PDF option. Microsoft print to PDF. So once you have that selected, you go down here, so, and you print. So what this is going to do, it is going to print back the same document that you have to a new PDF file, right? So once you press print, you're going to get an option to name this new PDF file. So if the first one that you had was Kevin, it's the same file number, but you're going to say Kevin Flattened or whatever you want to name it to show that there's a different, right? So this is going to be a new file, Kevin Flattened. So once you press save here, so it's going to save to your location. So see the file here, what I just do, so I can open it now, and you can see this file now, I can't edit it any at all. So you see there's no name, there's no option down here, so to change the date, to change the signature, anything. If I click in the space here, so for the grade, you see it flashing. If I backspace, nothing will change. All right. So that means that this is flattened. This can't be edited anymore. And this is exactly how I want it. You get what I'm saying? Right. Except that you put in the full name for the student and the rest of the information. All right.
Okay, may I ask a question, please, Ramiki?
Sure.
All right. I downloaded this document, and I work on it as a regular document, and I put in everything, all the grades and so forth.
The same cover sheet you're talking?
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened now is that it's not in PDF format, I would reckon.
Where you have it in a Microsoft Word format?
Yes.
All right, no problem. So you can go, let me show you a way for that. If it's in Microsoft Word format, same process. So file, save as, Microsoft will actually give you an option. So you can, where it says save as type, change it from Word document to PDF.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, nice. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. All right, good. So we have covered this part now. So once we have this covered, I'm good. I'm going to leave them open in case I need to come back to them. All right. So the next part that I reach in my process now is the tedious part. This is the tedious, confusing part where people make a whole mistake. This is the renaming part, right? Because as I said before, we have to name the files in some specific ways that CXC wants us to name them. And it's a bit repetitive, and because it gets too much repetitive, and because it has to deal with numbers, a lot of times we make a lot of errors. Now, here's the problem with this thing now. CXC, the system that they have, it's set up to accept the files in a specific way, right? So when the files come in, it's like it take piece of the file name and it's all right, this is the subject name, so it send it to that subject era. This is the candidate name, so it send it to that candidate number. You see, if one of those numbers off and it can't identify that file, it don't know if to do it, it just throw it out. So it can almost come like the student do submit an SBA, which is a bit unfair, but that's how it seems like them system work. So them tell you that them need to be named in a specific way, and you and I must sit down in our own time and name it specifically. So we're going to go over that now, all right? So first of all, the file name can't have any of these symbols that you see here. So no greater than, less than, comma, semicolon, none of these signs right here, so right? The file name will consist of, let me make this like a bit larger. The file name will consist of the candidate number, the SBA moderation code, and a document number. So it's all of these numbers that are going to come together to make the file name. All right. So let me show you what I mean. So for each candidate have a candidate number. We know that, right? And remember that it is 10 digits long. Right? So it have the 100355. Let me just type it as an example. So this candidate number will have 100355 on it, and it will have the next unique set of numbers. So if it's 0012 or whatever the case is. So whatever the case is, this number must be 10-digit long, right? A lot of the times we make a mistake and we leave off one of the numbers. And then this is where some of the problems start, because now this is whichever number that follow this in the next sequence of for the moderation code going to become mistakenly identified as part of the candidate number. I'm going to show you in a second what I mean by that. So let me put back the 0 here. So all right. The SBA moderation code. You should already know your moderation code. The moderation code is basically the test code. Right? The test code that come on the past papers. So it is on this code right here. So it's on the top of the spreadsheet, the same spreadsheet that you're going to fill out is on the top of the spreadsheet. And it's also in the name of the spreadsheet. So it's right there in the name of the spreadsheet, and it's right here at the top of the spreadsheet. So bear in mind, every subject code is different. So you have to look for your subject code. So in my case, it's 0122990. So my one is 01229090. All right. Let me just write down that quick before. So my one is 012. I forget. Sorry. 0122. Sorry, 01229090. That is my IT. All right. Fear not, it is in this document as well. So if you go all the way down on the bottom, you will see all of them listed here. So, right. So social studies, RE, all of them are listed right here. So information technology, 01229090. Right. So all of the these are the codes that you will use for your specific subject. Bear in mind, if you mix up these set of numbers here, so for example, if you're doing, let me show you one funny thing on Mr. CXC, though, which can sound very strange. Then put some of these numbers, so if you notice all them ended 90, I'm making that very strange. Look at this one. For English A is 0121 8090, and for theater arts is 0124 8090. I don't know why they put the number so close. And guess what happened? If this person mix up and put in the English number right here, so everything that they submit will be sent to the English, and then the English will not recognize and throw it out. You understand? So make sure that you're putting in the correct moderation codes that are here. All right. So let me go back up to where I was showing you the example. So my moderation code 01229090. All right. And then the document number, meaning that if it's one document or two documents. So for example, in my case, it's going to be one number. All right. So what this means now is that I have to combine this set of numbers with this set of number with this set of number to make one number. So that will mean that what happened there? Let's do that again. It's going to mean that this number is going to be followed by this number, going to be followed by this number to make one file number. And if you're not paying good attention to that, you're going to get confused very, very quickly. Right? So what this means is that the first 10 digits of this number are the candidate number. The other 8 numbers right here will be the moderation number, which is the subject number, the test code. And then the final number here going to be the number of documents that you are submitting. Now look at this now. If I accidentally leave off this 0 right here, so after the candidate number, you're looking at this number, you're not going to be able to tell a difference so easy, because you're looking at this number and it almost look the same way to me. You understand? Now, when you submit this to the system, this is going to be looking for 011 100 0120. This is the candidate number that they're looking for now. Bear in mind, this is the candidate number that you were trying to submit. So you said the 0012 is different from the 0120. Just because you take off, you're mistaken, leave off a 0. Because now it is now taking the 0 from the next line of code. And this is how mistakes happen. And then when you make one mistake, it will automatically lead to a whole other set of issues as well, right? So this is why I'm going to say to you, this is the part that you don't rush. This is the part where you take your time and make sure that you name the files properly. Meaning that if it's 01003550012 here, so make sure so you put back the 0012 here, so it's going to have a problem there, all right? Let me go further and explain something. So what this part right here is showing you is that if you have one file submitting, you're going to put 1 beside it. If there's a second file to be submitted, you put 2 instead of the 1. All right. If there's a third one, you put 3 beside it. All right. So what that would mean is that, again, same example we're using right here. So we have the candidate number for 10035500100. So this is for one candidate. The moderation code, which is 01225090, and then document 1, which is like that. When you're going to name when you're going to name this file now, you will name it with the 10 numbers for the candidate number and the test code and the 1. So this is going to be for file number 1. In most cases, most of you only have one piece of SBA, so you would only have the 1 right here. So in cases like IT and EDPM, I think we are the only person that have to struggle. Maybe theater arts, I think, might have to struggle with these multiple files. So if there's one document, this is going to be the name of the document, right? If there's a second SBA file, this is going to be the name of the second one. You're just going to put a 2 right here, so you get that? And if there's a third one, you just continue, same line of codes going across, but you put a 3 right there. So let me show you an example of what one of my code, one of my thing them look like. These are from last year. So these are how my names for my files would mean. So it's to be 10035500662, and then the moderation code, and then number 1. All right. 1005. Yes, 21 there. So I'm not sure why 21 there. So I think this are the zip file. This single file was actually what was submitted. Let me take that out of the mix. All right, so this is the zip file. So we're not counting that one. So this was the first file. This is my second file. This is my third. This is my fourth. This is my 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and this is my 9th file. So all of them going to have the same candidate number, followed by the test code, followed by -1, this is file 1, -2, this is file 2, -3, this is file 3, going all the way down to the final one. All right. So that is how you have to name all of your files for the SBA files. Now, when it comes to the cover sheet, you will name it like this. What I have down here, sir. So you're going to name your cover sheet 10035500100, then the test code, then 1, and then CS. So this is saying that cover sheet. This is saying 1 cover sheet. This is what this is saying. So each cover sheet should be named like this, all right? Just like this cover sheet was named. All right, this CS should be at the end right here. So it should be the sequence of numbers, the set of numbers followed by CS at the end, like what we have right here. So right, so your file naming won't have any candidate names in it at all, only the set of numbers like what I just show you. All right. So if it's a cover sheet, you would name a cover sheet like this -1 CS. If you have a mark scheme that is not within the file, so if there's a mark scheme that is not within the SBA document itself, because I know that most teachers just put the mark scheme within the SBA document itself, so that when you open the SBA, read through the SBA, and then the mark scheme is at the end. I know most persons do it like this. If this is not how you did it, so for example, again, like IT or like EDPM, where you submit the mark scheme separate, then you would put MS instead of CS for cover sheet. You would put MS for mark scheme, right? So bear in mind now, all SBAs being submitted by students must have a cover sheet and it must have a mark scheme. The cover sheet has to be a single document by itself. So you can't put the cover sheet with the rest of the SBA in the SBA file. It can't be a part of the file. The cover sheet must be a file by itself. Like when we have this cover sheet as a file by itself right here, so it must be a file by itself. However, some persons put their mark scheme, they just copy, do it like a table or so, and put their mark scheme within the actual SBA, the student's SBA file, which is fine, right? So if you put it in the SBA, put it as a part that whoever going to market can see it, either at the front or the back, make it accessible and make it everything, right? And then you won't need to put it like this, all right? So let me use our next subject as an example now. So for social studies, last year, social studies, so last year, this would be a social studies file for this person. And then within this document now, they had, I assume they did, I assume Mr. Dacosta didn't tend to sleep very often. But at the end of this document now, he would have had, or should have had, not at the end, somewhere in this document, he had a mark scheme somewhere, right? So the mark scheme would be in the document itself, right? And then the cover sheet will be external. So the cover sheet will be a file to itself. So this is what most people seeing for a student file will look like. They will just have one file and one cover sheet for most people. EDPM, myself, and I think maybe theater arts might have more than one SBA files itself, but you will only still have one cover sheet, right? I hope I made that clear. So I'm going to submit. This file is going to be actually posted in the group as well, so you will see how to name the files right here. So, all right, so you won't have any mix-up or any errors or anything like that, right? All right. Before I go any further, anybody have any question on this part, on this section, naming the files?
Ramike,
Yeah.
you see the first part where you showed me a while ago where you create another PDF file. The first part where you show me the other way to do it. I don't totally get it, so I never can talk to you after because I don't really get that part of it.
Yeah, man. But that's why I record it. So you don't need to ask me. So when I record it now, I just go post it. I just go send me a YouTube link, and you can watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it till a week.
Yeah, I'm speaking about no, me not no time for that. No exam time and them someday, so we not no time for that. But anyway, yeah, cool.
All right, no problem. Make us
Sir
after. No problem. Yeah, man.
Before you move on, all right. I am clear. All right, in naming the file, file name, but the last part of it where you would up the top there, I'm seeing -1, -2. Can you please just run through that little part for me, please?
All right, not a problem. So this is saying that if you have more than one files, so for example, in my case, let me go back to my ITSBA that was done last year. Let me just find it in the model. All right, so in this case where I had multiple files to submit, I couldn't put the same number. Because I said, I put the same number for all of them. You're going to tell me, say, this file already exists, basically, right? So what I had to do, accept that file. So what CSEC must do to distinguish each of them is to put the -1 beside. So if I have one file, it's the same set of numbers here, so -1, showing that this is file number 1. The same set of numbers here, so -2, to show that this is file number 2. So it's the same candidate number, the same test code, everything, if you notice going down, it's the same candidate number and the same test code for all of them, but we put the -2 to show that this is the second file, the -3 to show that this is the third file, the -4 to show that this is the fourth file.
Okay.
I just have to make sure you get it. But I don't want to show you the next one, so make sure you get it in the car. So like Miss EDPM now, Miss Samuels, are the same thing she had to do because she had multiple files, up to 13, 14 files, 15 files sometimes. So she had to name them 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end of them. Bear in mind, just make sure the candidate number and the test code remains the same throughout. So no change will take place there. So it's just a -1 at the end to show that this is file 1, file 2. And then if you have a mark scheme, like we have to have an external mark scheme, so you put -ms for the mark scheme, and you put CS. The CS is supposed to be on the other side. I think, but they have to change them here last year. So the CS is supposed to be out here, so to show that it's a cover sheet, right? So this is what I was saying. So when the computer, when I drop this file into the computer will first look for the center number for this candidate, and then the test code. So anything off with these set of numbers, it probably going to get an error and don't accept it, right? So it will kind of, so at some point, maybe start get some more email from CXE to say they didn't get an SBA from this student or this student, and then when we check it, we realize that his name never named properly or something like that, right? Somebody turn off the mic, please. Somebody mic, I get some feedback. Somebody mic, I get some feedback. All right.
That's Miss Dorman. Miss Dorman.
Oh, Miss Darwan, turn off the mic, please. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. So we just want me keep on go over this over because this has to be done. We want to make sure that these files are named properly. All right. Now, the problem with this now is that when you start naming your files like this, you might lose track of who is who too. So what I did last year, I told teachers, put them in a folder with the student name. So you know that this file belongs to Anissa Williams, candidate number that. So in this folder now, then come all of the files. Right? Same thing I think I did with all of the subject areas. So for like social studies, so this is what you would do. For social studies, you're going to put a folder with the student's name. Put a folder with the student's name, candidate number, so I know that this is the right student. So I can start check the numbers from here. So and you can start checking the number because when you look at this, it's supposed to say 10035506338. So when you go into this file now, you know that you're going to be seeing 0638 here, so and 0638 here. So right away you're double confirming your candidate number there. So all right. So what is in here, we'll look at this when it's finished name, except that the CS will be at the end, like what I tell you. On the outside, put them in a folder name with the student name and then candidate number. Let me look for one of the full files.
All right, so Ramike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying that like all the students folder should have their ID, their names and their ID number, their personal ID number.
Right. So make it easier
Right.
for you and for me to check it off when we finish.
Okay, so but what is inside now is more
on the number base. On the number base will be inside. If you understand what I mean.
Oh yes, I get you.
Right. Wonderful. Wonderful. And then there's a final part now, which is the final part. Once you have everything, so for example, everything that I have was in, these are all of my filing. So all of the students from last year that submitted SBAs, right? So I supposed to be able to right. So these are all of the files in this one folder. So I can right click on this file, send to, and compress, right? Because you see, if I try to send all of this file in by email or whatever, it's going to give me a problem in terms of too much file or something like that. So even if I try to drop this whole folder as is, it's going to give me a problem, right? So I have to zip this folder, the IT term that somebody might know it, somebody don't, right? So to zip it, what it's going to do is, first thing, it's going to put everything as one file, as one unit, so it be easier to email. In addition to that, it compress it so that it take up less space. Again, so that it's easier to submit, right? So once you have everything in this, like this is all of my IT students last year, but just name it Information Technology SBA, and you can put the center number on it just to make sure someone don't mix up the day center with the evening center. So once you have it like this, you just right click on the folder. All right, you can see my one here, so may have zip and zip share. Most people might not have these files installed on their computers, but Windows will offer you this option. So you go to send to and go to compress zipped, and Windows will always offer you this. So once you press this, it should run through it, compress it. You can see compressing, and then you're going to see the file come up down here so as a zip file. So you see the zip showing that it's a different file format from the rest. All right. So once that is finished, you will send me this finished zipped file, and that should be the end of it for you for that submission. All right. So again, as you can see, as I emphasize, because I hold the heap number them and the heap repetitive steps, it's very easy to make mistakes, teachers. So we have a deadline because we're trying to work with Friday, which is a week. That should be more than enough for most people. Most people, that should be more than enough because you're supposed to already have your files set up and everything intact already. So it's just a matter of renaming them and sending them to me. So what you can do just to make sure, see if you can do it from early so that we can have time to look it over from early and make sure say good. You know, no matter wait till Friday night, you try to send everything one time. And then it makes that a little bit difficult for me to look over everything one time. As I said, look it over, ask somebody else in your department to look it over to verify that it was done properly. You understand? So that case you can do it, and then you ask Miss Carney to do it as well, just to make sure that you double check it and triple check it and everything. All right, just to make sure. My file is taking a little bit longer because it's a large file. All right, so that with most of your file, mine is large because they have like 10 and 12 in each folder. You're not going to have 2 files in each folder, so they're much smaller. Or should be, except Miss Samuels. All right, so it's finished now. So this is it. So once it's finished, this I don't know why this file submit. This file is supposed to submit. All right, it actually is that big. Why? Oh, all right. All right, your file not going to come up that big. I think me zip something else in it not supposed to be in it. But this was just for example purposes, right? So once you have this file here, so this is what you would email to me, this zip file, and then I would extract it and do all of what I need to do to it after that. Let me just check this. Here somebody have the mic open like them want to ask a question. Just hold it. Let me just hold it 1 second. Let me just check through this to make sure that I have everything covered. Right. So right here, so I went through the step already again, typed out all of the steps, how you would do exactly what I just told you a while ago. So you would name the folder John Brown with the candidate number, and then when you finish, you zip everything and put everything in a zip folder. All of the steps are here, so you won't have a problem. Into zip, right? So you see, I'm a better teacher than I thought. I actually did everything in advance. All right, this right here, so is a little check, it's a little checklist. All right, so you can run through this checklist to make sure that you did everything that you're supposed to do. Ensure each SBA has a title sheet. Ensure each candidate name and number. Rename and verify. Fill out this. Run through this checklist and make sure that you did everything here. This is the email address that you are to send it to. Right? inzonehighexams@gmail.com. Do not send it to my private one, as I might not read it. If you send it here, I know that everything coming in here so it's going to be SBA related, so it will be placed on my priority list. I don't check my personal email on a regular basis when I know that I don't have important things coming in. All right. This is Friday June 11th, which is Friday coming, or before. I know some of you are proactive. You might even finish Thursday. I was just waiting. So it's not a problem. Again, this is the test code for all of the subject areas that need the test codes. These are the steps that I used when I want to create the digital signature that I just spoke about. I actually put all of the steps right there. So you see, yes, I am a good teacher. Again, I put down here so the email address and the deadline again at the very bottom of the sheet, just to verify that you got it. One thing we need to tell you again, one thing. So what this means that the persons that have SBAs to submit, you would go through all of these process. The persons that don't have an SBA to submit to me, they're only going to fill out the grades on this sheet. You can fill out this by Monday and give me. All right. So if you are any of these teachers, let me tell you the teacher that I can give me by Monday, and it's not a problem. If you are the agribiochemistry, building, electrical, integrated science, and technical drawing teacher, all of these people, you can just download the spreadsheet that I will putting in the Dropbox, and you can send it to me. And you can just send it to me from Monday. Because all they're going to do is just drop in the grades here, so and we can start putting in those. The people who actually have the SBAs to submit to me, you will follow the rest of the procedures here, so submit to me, and then we shall all have a grand summer. At this point, I think that is it. Anybody have any questions that they want to bring up at this point?
Yes, Mr. Remiki. Mr. Remiki?
Yes, go ahead.
The practical grades. You didn't show us how to submit them for theater arts.
For theater arts.
The practical grades.
Yeah, I remember. Theater arts are the situation, you know. And it depends on the spreadsheet format. You have to give one hard copy. You have to print the hard copy and get to fill out that one. I'm going to have to print the hard copy and get to fill out that one. Come on, remember, so now a separate grade for that one.
Right, yes.
So
and if students only did one exam, do I fill out information for the one exam they did?
That's one exam because that's all they did. That's all CSEC.
For the practical, they only did
CXC,
one.
So that's all CXC required them to do?
No, 2.
But our students only did one and didn't do the other one.
There are some students who only did one.
Why them never do the other one?
Because they didn't send in the video. They didn't send in the second one.
Is it too late to collect that?
Yes.
I will think about it. All right.
Yes.
Mr. Miki, the visual arts spreadsheet is different from the one that you presented, right?
Yes, the visual. Yeah, I was looking at IT. So IT will be different. Visual arts will have their setup. Based on how your mark scheme is set up, it will look different.
Okay.
Right? And then, hold on. So with visual arts, so you would have a different process because you have to go literally pull out the labels to put on your pieces on. But you know all of this already. We'll talk about it already.
I'm doing it now.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Yes,
so,
next person.
Mr. Remiki, you would send me a hard copy back to theater arts?
Yeah, I'm going to print it. So which day are you coming to school this week?
I'll be there tomorrow.
All right, I'll come by tomorrow and print. If I don't get to come, I'll send it to the lab tech and ask him to print it for you. So it shouldn't be a problem. All right?
So I put all the practical grades on that.
Right. So I'm going to look through CXC something and make sure that there's an actual form for that and send it to him and he will pull it out. All right? He will print it for you and you pull it out. Right.
Okay.
Yes, Mr. Remiki.
Mr.
Yes. Right. Yeah, in terms of for the technical drawing, right?
Oh, Mr. Carr, yeah.
Yeah, man. In terms of you showed up a spreadsheet with the grades and stuff like that, right? So for technical drawing, it's just that alone, because I know that the students will have SBAs also in terms of the practical part of it.
But
right?
you would have an external assessor. Somebody will come in for Mark to look at yours, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to have somebody coming in, but I haven't heard from that person as yet.
Right. So because you have somebody coming for mark yours, that's how it would work. So you just need to float the spreadsheet and send back to me, and that should be all for now. But when the person are come now, you need to. So all of the person will get external access. When the persons are coming, I think you need to come back to me to print out the grades. I think that the grades are something else needs to be printed. I can't tell you beforehand still, but something else needs to be printed from these grades for when them come for them to have in hand. But we can talk about that after.
All right then. Well, I'll be at school Wednesday, so you can link about it at that time.
All right, no problem, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yes, Mistress.
Anybody else with SBA related problems and not personal problems?
Yes, sir.
SBA related, SBA stress we out.
So it's SBA stressing us out.
Yeah.
SBA not stressing.
Mr. Remiki.
Yes.
I'm making a request, sir. Seeing that you have made reference to my subject so many times, and the fact that it's a lot of pieces, 14, 15 to be exact. Sir, I'm requesting additional time, sir. Can you give me until next Wednesday, like the following Wednesday, sir?
The next Wednesday, I drive right down to the line, you know. It's right way down to the line. Because me did push all of the time into giving us. Because you know, to see with some of the teachers, me keep on asking, you sure you can collect one more? You sure? And we will send some students to some other teacher them sometime because me did kind of draw it all the way down to the line. So next week you have to see if you give me Wednesday, you have to make sure that it's totally error free, and then it have totally error free so that we can drop it straight on the system. But if I'm gonna come to school and make you do it yourself so that you know, say it I understand.
No, sir.
Yes, man.
Sir.
Yes, man. Mm-hmm.
But sir, mine it has always been error free, so you know that. But you always work on mine the last because of the number of work.
Right. But the thing about it is that you work so efficiently that most time you're the first person to finish anyway, you know. So right
but
now,
this time around, sir,
I feel like you finish early, you know. I feel like you finish early, but you just want one extension. I feel like you
no,
finish
sir,
early.
me not finish, sir.
I beg you. I feel like you just finish in the short time when I present the choir, probably just don't gonna do the whole of them same time. So I feel like you finish early. I feel like you finish early. All right. So for the purpose of this recording, I'm going to stop the recording right now. All right. So thanks for coming out. I mean, you can stay on after to ask me a question if you want, but for the purpose of the recording, I'm gonna stop the recording. All right.
Okay, good. I have one question.
Wait, let me stop. I'm sure. So this now I'm not with SBA.